The body corporate of this building should be in jail.
I wouldn't pay.
So I can move in with a couple of my friends here, yeah? Fuck me. So sharing it between 9 people.
Yeah, look, probably not.
Probably not?
Yeah, no.
Melbourne's rental market is cooked. Let's go do some inspections. Right, so first up we got the bunk bed bungalow. This Whopper Junior is listed for $500 a week, but when I went to see it just 2 days ago, it was $520. The rest of the place actually looks pretty comfortable. It's really this bunk bed situation that made me want to go see it. The flat does come furnished, so they are placing this bed situation as a perk. Are they expecting a few people to live in it? Is that legal? I don't know. Let's go check it out. Coming in, I was actually a little bit taken aback. I've never done an inspection where I've walked in and there's shit all over the place. Random stuff everywhere, tables and chairs on top of the bed, milk jugs. I mean, I guess it's bulking season. They definitely get a point for the Chromecast, that's cool, but paying $520 a week for an apartment, or any amount really, I would expect it to look good to go. Moving on to the second bedroom, I'm actually not too sure what to call this, apart from a complete disgrace. This is what I would call a job site, and I was questioning whether or not the bucket was an ensuite. Just not at all ready to be shown. I mean, this is what I was expecting, and this is what I got. It's like if Wish and Temu had a baby. So, moving on to the bathroom. The bathroom comes fully fitted out with a caulking gun, a pair of shoes, tough rubber gloves, and a Stanley knife. Also these workers' pants too.
You are not paying right now overseas, so if you don't move it any day, today, tomorrow, you don't need to pay any additional money, okay? You can just go and find a house. We also want you to move out.
So I can move in with a couple of my friends here, yeah? Right, and I would, so they would sleep there. Oh, sorry. I would sleep here.
Offer an email application. Yeah, thank you.
Make my offer. All right, cool. See you later. So how long have you been working in real estate for?
About 7 years.
7 years, nice. Melbourne the whole time?
Yeah.
And it's available to move into as soon as possible, yeah?
Yeah, right. Yes.
Cool.
So you don't want to pay? You don't? Thank you. Have a good day.
For $520 for a 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
Is that similar to what you're paying? Or? No worries. Well, that was fucking depressing. Let's go to the next one. I just inspected this place for $520 a week. Would you want to tell me if you'd rent this place for $520?
Is that's in the kitchen? Yeah, look, probably not.
Probably not?
Yeah, no.
Wow, $520.
What do you reckon?
Nah, I wouldn't pay. No, fuck that.
Yeah. Like, do you think that's worth $520?
No.
Not even with the bunk bed?
No.
Oh my god, look at the line for this one. I'm just kidding, it's the aquarium, or sea life, or whatever it is. Okay, next up, Flinders Street. It's a studio for $315 a week, and I thought, for that price it'll have to be worth it, right? The photos make it look really nice, it's small, but there's nothing wrong with that. It also says that it's partly furnished with most of what you see in the photos, so I thought it would be really similar. But as it turns out, the spirit animal of this studio is a catfish. How long has the lift been broken for? Quite some time, yeah. How's the sink fund looking?
Yeah.
Should have warned us, I did legs yesterday. Thanks. Does it come with a mattress?
No idea.
No? We couldn't find out how long the lift was broken for, or for how much longer it would be. There was no sofa. The window didn't open, which explains the mold that had built up. We asked quite a few questions. Is there a fan? Is the door going to get fixed? She couldn't answer any of them, because she wasn't the property manager. We lost half the group up the stairs. The studio is on the 12th floor and they just couldn't make it. The whole thing just seemed pretty slack. Yeah, any fan? Maybe this vent over here?
Maybe this one, yeah.
Does that turn on?
Could be.
Do you know if the cupboards and that are going to be fixed up before moving?
It doesn't say anything about like the cupboards or
application.
Like we send it to your phone number or your email? What was the reason for the move?
I'm just looking for somewhere a bit bigger.
Does it work?
No, it's not working.
Yeah, so we have to go the stairs.
Yeah.
You're too fast, I cannot catch you.
That's okay.
And then I cannot hear anything.
Don't take the bike or else. The body corporate of this building should be in jail. And then I guess we've got a portrait of the body corporate there. God, imagine hopping out for some milk. Anyway, I won't show you this next apartment because the person is still really living there and has all their stuff. So for their privacy, I've scrapped it, but I'm going to tell you about their apartment, why it's a rip-off, and why all the apartments in the CBD are a rip-off to rent as well. So as you can see here, it's listed for $450 a week. What I didn't realize when I was looking at it is that it's actually also for sale. So this is the exact same apartment here. Now it's selling for $180,000 to $198,000. Exact same apartment. So then you ask yourself, I wonder what the mortgage repayments on that are. So let's have a look. In today's current high interest rate environment, it's $1,251 per calendar month if you take out the entire $198,000 as a mortgage. So that's with no deposit, paying the highest tier price listed on the website. So $1,251 a month comes out to $287.90 a week. The CBD is such a rip-off for this reason. In other areas of Melbourne like St Kilda or South Yarra, you'd be paying comparable rent to the CBD for a one-bedroom flat, but they cost around $400,000 to $500,000, not 2 or 3. The CBD is particularly bad for this discrepancy. Rent prices just don't add up to property values at all. There could very well be a valid reason for this that I'm not aware of. If you do, and for whatever reason it does add up, please let me know. Glad I'm wearing matching socks today. Cool, so $5 for a wash, $5 for a dry. Okay, so how many people are on the floor that we would be sharing it with? So sharing it between 9 people.
Yeah, wow.
Is anything happening over in this corner or not really? No? Okay. Okay, so next up I would say we've got the best looking one so far. It's a 1-bedroom on Little Burke Street for $475 a week. The photos look pretty reasonable. It looks like there's enough space. There's just not a lot of windows or natural lighting from what I can see. So there is this one here in the living room. And I guess technically there's a window in the bedroom as well, but that opens into the living room. Everyone's a big fan of natural lighting, so is their mood and mental health. When I turned the lights off, it was 10 AM, but it looks like 10 PM. Dark as. It's important. If you're spending almost $500 a week, I think you should have some natural lighting. This area does have a space for laundry and a bedroom with the window looking out into the living room. You couldn't really open any of the windows, more than 10 to 15 centimeters. So I stuck my camera out to see what I could see. So we had a plastic bottle, some fences and stuff, just a whole lot of nothing really. You certainly wouldn't want to be sticking your head out there. I asked the agent about this afterwards, and she said due to its historical listing, they can't modify it to open any further. I'm all for history and preservation, but I would toss that straight up. I felt just very claustrophobic in these spaces. No natural light, couldn't open the windows. For $475 a week, those are a couple of things that I would expect. So where does that leave us, and what are we gonna do? Well, unfortunately, I don't think there's much we can do. Let's certainly hope that the government pulls their finger out of their ass any second now and do something to reverse some of the policies that they've put in place that have manufactured this situation. Negative gearing, foreign investment, terrible zoning. It's crazy that within a stone's throw of the city, in the inner city suburbs, that there are these enormous houses 2-3 kilometers away from the central business districts. You know, think of like Beacon Cove in Port Melbourne or Middle Park, so close. That could be medium density apartments. It doesn't have to be these great big houses. We have this clinical obsession with large houses, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Medium density apartments are awesome. Look at Barcelona, they're having a great time. But compared to other English speaking countries, outside of the US, because they're sort of their own thing, but looking at the UK, Canada and New Zealand, we've actually got it way better than they do. Our wages are much higher, the cost of living is probably lower, if not the same, and the properties in these other countries are just as expensive. What I was trying to say is generally the purchasing power in Australia is higher. It's easier to get by here. It's easier to have a better life in general. Quality of life is higher. I even saw this thing online where this guy was studying at a university in Vancouver, and instead of renting an apartment in Vancouver, it was actually cheaper to live in Calgary or however you say it, and fly over to Vancouver and back. That was cheaper than living in Vancouver. Vancouver, in Canada on the whole, is so expensive, and the wages are terrible compared to here. It's all about perspective. My partner's from the UK, she grew up in London. She doesn't know anyone, or know anyone that knows anyone that lives by themselves. Just to rent a room in a share house there, it costs about £1,000 a month. I lived in the UK for a little bit over a year, and it was in a much cheaper city. It was in Glasgow, a city that's famous for its low cost of living. A one-bedroom apartment there is going to run you about £800 or £900 a month. And then not only do you have to pay the rent, you also have to pay the rates, which over there they call council tax, but here in Australia the landlord pays that. Over in the UK, the tenant pays that. And the wages over there are so much lower than here, and it adds up big time. So for a decent area in Glasgow, it's about the same price to rent a decent area in Melbourne. So like I said, I spent just over a year there. I was working full time, first in a call centre for £19,000 a year. It was fucking dreadful. Then I started working in healthcare recruitment, and I was earning £26,000 a year. And quite frankly, I was way overpaid. It's just because my boss was a really nice guy, and he treated me well. It's crazy how quickly a country can go downhill. In the early 2000s, loads of Australians used to go over to the UK. I think the pound at the time was something like 3-1 to the Aussie dollar. So people made loads of money working in the UK. Not anymore, it's exactly the opposite. The cost of living and housing has gotten out of control. Overall, Australia is a really great country to live, and it's still hard to beat. I hope in any case it improves and the government actually does something at some point soon, so regular people can start looking at buying houses again, because at the moment, it's way out of range. It's any wonder no one can buy a house. People can barely rent them. Not for these prices anyway. We could be doing so much better. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one.